Hey, American contractors, viewers of the American Contractor Show. I'm here with John Dye at Win the Storm, and I have to tell you, anyone that is associated with American Contractor Show, you are a badass.
Big shout out to American Contractor Show. If you don't know, you definitely need to check out the Storm Summit. They're doing it in excellence. Check them out.
Hey, what's up? This is your friend, Francisco Serrano. If you haven't checked it out, American Contractor Show, YouTube channel, Facebook channel, Twitter, Instagram, all the platforms, you need to go them, like them, start learning about your craft.
Hey, I'm Matt Danskin with Restoration Referral System. Check out the American Contractor Show. The truck that they've got is awesome. Everything else that they have going on.
This is Larry Bache with the Northern Law Group, helping policyholders for more than 30 years. If you have a claim or your client has a claim that needs help, please feel free to call the Northern Law Group because we are the true policyholder advocate.
C3 was eager to help us, and even whenever we weren't giving them work, they were still eager to give advice. The things that they were putting out for the for changing from DMO to RFG and giving that to the industry and not charging anything for it, I thought was really cool. And that's stuff that I as a contractor appreciate. I'd recommend C3 to any contractor who's looking for a PA, especially if you're around Colorado. Great guys, man. I'm nothing but happy with the work they've done for us.
What's going on, everybody? Lead meteorologist Sean Choquette here for the first time. I've done the forecast in a minute, and we're going to jump right into it. Looks like the Chicagoland area has a chance of seeing some hail today as well as tomorrow. Next couple days here, looks like we could see some activity in Chicago, fingers crossed. Also, plains could sneak in some decent-sized hail here, especially tonight in the Dakotas and even up into southern sections of Canada. We'll talk about that, and we're going to be checking on the tropics. This is the week where typically tropical season tends to really ramp up, and it really looks like we are riding right along the schedule here for the tropics, so we'll kind of dive into that a little bit more as well. As always, before we get into anything, of course, thanks to our sponsors. You guys saw them, C3 Group, Northern Law Group, and Art and Supplement down on the description below. And the events coming up here. It's the IRE. It's tomorrow. The truck's already there. The booth's being set up probably as we are speaking here. Booth number 3355. You're not going to miss it. The truck is front and center on that. You come see our storm chasing truck. Come talk with us. Great time. And especially if you are there from the 10th to the 12th, we are going to have a demo of some new features that Hailtrace has to offer here. This is going to be on Tuesday, so that's tomorrow at 2 p.m. in Vegas, so that's like 4 o'clock our time, but you got to be there. You got to be at the event here at our booth, number 3355. So if you're on your way to the IRE right now, you're on the plane, you're watching us after the fact, whatever it is, come check out the demo. We got a lot of cool, exciting stuff coming up here, and it's going to be premiered in a demo for you guys tomorrow. That's at 2 p.m. at the IRE. And of course, we also have the Thunder Road Race for Recovery. Been advertising this the whole time. The link's in the description below. You want to be a sponsor, you want to sign up to race, you can come do that. September 15th, it's about a month away here at the Thunder Road Race for Recovery in Norman, Oklahoma. You get some prizes, you have food trucks, all that fun stuff. Should be a great time for a wonderful cause for roofers in recovery. So what did we see yesterday? We had a bunch of wind reports scattered both in sections of Montana, and then over here in the Chicago area we actually saw some wind gusts up by Green Bay, Chicago, down towards St. Louis. Nothing too wild, just a couple little tornadoes in Iowa. So no hail, no severe hail. I saw a couple hail reports on there, but those were sub-severe. 2 tornadoes, 34 high wind reports. Pretty quiet for this day here in August, and of course our numbers are riding well behind what we saw last year, and that's going to continue probably for the rest of the year now. Hopefully hurricane season will be making up for some lost time on that. Current conditions across the country, we have some storms, some thunder showers here in the northern Chicago suburbs, moving off into Lake Michigan, and also some activity back by Madison, Wisconsin. This is setting the stage for those storms later on this afternoon and into this evening. And up to the north, we also have some activity here across the Winnipeg area and down through North Dakota. You can even swirl here up into Montana. That is what's actually going to trigger off some storms here in North Dakota this evening and into tonight. Temperatures across the country, it's August and you can tell it's in the 90s here across most of the lower east of the Rocky Mountains, 77 in New York City, 79 in Fort Wayne. So plenty warm and plenty humid here for any sort of thunderstorm activity this evening. Notice dew points well into the 70s across the majority of the nation. So that is not going to be a problem for storms for today. Significant hail model for this afternoon. What are we expecting here? The best chances for the really big hail, you can see that highlighted here about 5 o'clock here in the Dakotas, but you can see some activity possible here down by the Chicagoland area. So we're going to keep an eye on that as we move through here for the remainder of the day, and there's also that chance for tomorrow as well. Future radar starting here in the Chicagoland area. You can see right now at noon, storms going to be forming probably after about 2 o'clock or so. You can see a couple storms here right by that Wisconsin-Illinois border, and they're going to be moving generally east-southeast, turning into possibly a bit of a line of storms or a broken line. So there's that chance for that hail, chance for that strong wind gust. About 4:30, 5 o'clock moving through Chicago, and then that'll continue through as we get to the overnight hours. They'll be passing Chicago after about 10 o'clock or so. So there is that chance for some hail across the entire Chicagoland area. Biggest hail chances likely would be north of downtown when the storms first form here, moving through, and then into the overnight hours some more activity could form as well. Up to the north, we have a chance for some of that activity forming this evening, stopping about 6 o'clock. You can see a couple of supercells out ahead of a forming line of storms. These could pack a punch, have some pretty big hail with them, but it looks like for the most part we're going to see a bunch of activity that will turn into a line of storms pretty quick by about 9, 10 o'clock. So the hail chances will be limited to any sort of storms on the southern ends of all of this as we get through the late evening hours. So what's the maximum hail size potential for today? Probably up to tennis ball size hail. But that's not going to be in the Chicagoland area. I think that's going to be in North Dakota. I think Chicagoland area, better chance maybe around that golf ball size hail. And you'll see that in the hail forecast here just a second. You have highlighted 2 areas up to that golf ball size hail generally in the Chicago area with those storms that may form this afternoon, and then bigger hail possible up into the initial storm development in North Dakota. Zooming in on the Chicago area, got that moderate chance of at least quarter size hail for the entire Chicago metro. Low chance from St. Louis to Indiana. Outside chance a couple storms could make some hail, but for the most part, I think the real focus of the hail potential is going to be here in the orange area where that bigger hail is possible with any storms that can stay isolated. And further off to the north, low chances for any population centers are really kind of here in the far eastern sections of the Dakotas. Big hail, up to that tennis ball size hail is possible here in central North Dakota, but North Dakota doesn't have too many people in it, so possibly keeping it pretty isolated in terms of population for that big hail today. So there was that city forecast for Chicago between about 5 and 9 p.m., possibly even a little earlier on the northern sections of the metro area. Golf ball size hail is that maximum potential size. I think places like Evanston or Schaumsburg or whatnot, better chances of seeing that bigger hail versus south of downtown Chicago. Moderate chances for that at least quarter size hail. I'm pretty confident we'll see at least some quarters. Again, and probably in the more northern section of the Chicagoland area. Low chances for golf balls right now just because of the fact that it looks like we could see more of a line of storms form. If a line of storms form, the hail chances are going to go down. So we keep a close eye on that. Of course, wind is also 65-mile-per-hour wind gusts if we do have a wind forming this afternoon. Future radar for tomorrow. If we don't get good storms today, could be a chance for some more tomorrow across Chicagoland. We got to jump all the way into the evening hours. You can see throughout the whole day, not too much going on for the state of Wisconsin or Illinois or into Iowa. And then by about 7:30, we get a couple of these isolated storms to form up here. And that is when we have a much better chance for some storms. They look to stay isolated between about 7:30 and maybe around 9, 10 o'clock or so. That's going to be your best shot for the bigger hail. And then that will move generally to the south and to the east as we get into the overnight hours. This particular model doesn't show anything impacting Chicago by 1 a.m., but there will be some storms possible as we move through the overnight hours on your day tomorrow. So what does the hail forecast look like for tomorrow now that we just saw that future radar? It looks like see up to that golf ball size hail. I have it north of Chicago for tomorrow, possibly the Madison, Milwaukee, up by Dubuque area. Could even see a couple isolated storms. Very few and far between here in Nebraska and Kansas. Kansas City, Omaha, got that low chance of maybe a storm or two that sneaks out a couple quarter-size hailstones. But for the most part, I think you guys are going to stay relatively dry. The main focus is going to be here in Wisconsin and northeastern sections of Iowa. Got that moderate chance here for Madison. You can say it's for Appleton or even up by Dubuque or even getting closer towards Des Moines. You could have up to that golf ball size hail. Low chances right now for Chicago for tomorrow, as it looks like the main bulk of the biggest hail may stay to the north of the state of Illinois. So we'll be keeping a close eye on this, of course, as always. For tomorrow, you can see the most at-risk cities for your Tuesday. Chicago, moderately low. Madison's got that best chance, and everyone else generally in the lower category for hail risks. Again, here with this way the year has been kind of quiet, anything, of course, will be welcome. So stick right here with Hail Trace. So guys, we'll give you any updates, and as always, we can do any live coverage if anything crazy does happen to those hail dances. Maybe we can get some International Roofing Expo live coverage. We'll see here. So we'll check that out as time goes on. Checking in on the tropics, again, we are on August 9th. Usually by about the 15th, things really pick it up. And over the next 5 days, it looks like we will see some activity forming here near the Caribbean. First area we're looking at a 10% chance for the next 2 days, 20% chance next 5 days. The more interesting risk is the one showing all the Caribbean islands here. This is a high chance of formation somewhere from the Florida Keys back here to located right now by the Western Antilles in the Atlantic. 70% chance next 2 days, 70% chance next 5 days. Looking pretty likely we'll see something form in this week here that could turn into the next hurricane for the 2021 season. And this is what the models are showing here for this tropical invest by Wednesday. Generally, the spaghetti plots are showing it getting towards Hispaniola. In terms of you want something big to form, you want a hurricane to happen, you want minimum land interaction. So these models have been trending a little more to the south, and you kind of want to keep it doing that so when it does cross over land heading towards the U.S., you want it to not be all over the land. And these are showing kind of clipping Cuba and then getting either into the Gulf of Mexico or into Florida by Sunday. So we'll be keeping a close eye on this as always, guys. Hurricane season is really starting to ramp up, and we have been talking about Florida's potential this year, so this could be the first of many potential storms going through the next month or so. And then, oh yeah, that's right, these continue to screw around well Thursday. So follow us on our social media platforms. You guys know the drill: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all that great stuff. You can give us a call as well at hailtrace.com. Give us a call, 855-334-4245, or email us at info@hailtrace.com. You guys tell I haven't been doing a video in a little while. Thanks as always for tuning in. Follow us, see first, all that great stuff. You guys know the drill. I don't have to stumble my way through it too much. I'll see you again tomorrow.